difference between you and me for the Taliban. They would slit our throats because we are working for the Americans.
The Taliban told my father he shouldn't work here.
As the foreman handed out the weekly wages, we saw some of the money being handed to men in a parked car. We're told at least half of it goes to the Taliban. One senior Afghan officer at the base said he now thinks the project is doing more harm than good. It's not the only outreach project they have. A makeshift clinic hands out medicines, and it's soon to be replaced with something more substantial.
3 months ago, the decision was made to leave a more solid legacy behind. These 4 buildings will house a school, a clinic, an agricultural training centre and a shura, a meeting room. The hope is that these bricks and mortar will stand firm against the Taliban in the fighting season and act as a reminder that the US forces provided them with something the Taliban didn't.
Word of the Cash for Work programme reached a neighbouring district. Elders turned up at the US outpost to ask the Americans to set one up locally. It's a good sign if the money goes to them and not to bolster the Taliban's funds. Sue Turton, Al Jazeera, Kandahar.
Scottish police have arrested a man in connection with a botched suicide bombing in Sweden last year. A 29-year-old man was the only person killed when the explosive belt he was wearing went off prematurely in a crowded shopping area in Stockholm in December. A 30-year-old foreign national arrested in Glasgow is being held on suspicion of aiding terrorist activities. An alleged mafia boss is among more than 30 people who've been arrested in Italy. Warrants have also been issued for around a dozen suspected members of the 'Ndrangheta syndicate in Germany, Australia and Canada. The trial of the former French President Jacques Chirac has been suspended until June, at least. He's facing corruption charges involving fake jobs from when he was mayor of Paris. The case has been deferred, pending a ruling by France's highest court over whether he can be tried over these alleged offences, as they were committed so long ago. It's International Women's Day, a celebration of the economic, political and social achievements of women. Melissa Chan has been to meet a software engineer in China who's achieved great things in a traditionally male-dominated industry.
Welcome to Baidu, the reigning champion of online search services in China, offering basic search, but also picture searches, video, audio, news, maps. There's social networking, shopping, online dating, a universe of internet products. The company emulates Silicon Valley culture, and it is in these spaces you'll see some of the brightest, most innovative workers in the country. One of the top engineers is a woman, Wang Menqiu.
I'm in charge of the major search services and developments. The latest technology we're working on is a parallel to cloud computing called frame computing, meant to be an internet-based platform to process information to provide a faster experience for the user.
Meng Qiu considers Google a competitor and believes Baidu succeeds because it focuses on the basics. She holds a unique position, a female leader in a conventionally male-dominated discipline. The 35-year-old graduated from prestigious Peking University, worked as a software engineer in California, but decided to return to China and joined Baidu in 2002. She argues that it's only at places such as Baidu, innovative and forward-thinking, that a woman would have the opportunity to come this far. The catch is, the chance is there, but will you and can you take it?
Women made up a quarter of my class at university. I know our class fared especially well, but I know other groups where the women didn't end up sticking to engineering. It's a tough discipline that requires constantly keeping up to date, and social pressures and expectations on women are such that many end up doing something much easier.
In China, like many places around the world, a husband's career is still seen as more important than the wife's. Meng Qiu acknowledges she's lucky for having a supportive husband, but admits that the long hours required of Baidu's research and development team deters many women. Mao Zedong once said that women hold up half the sky, but at many companies in China, that's not necessarily the case. What Baidu shows us is that of all places where women can find opportunity in China, it's in the fast-paced tech sector. Melissa Chan, Al Jazeera, Beijing.
This is Al Jazeera. These are the stories making the headlines. The head of Libya's opposition National Council says the Libyan leader must stop the bombing and leave the country within 72 hours. In return, the opposition says that they'll guarantee he won't be prosecuted under Libyan law. There's been intense fighting in the oil city of Ras Lanouf. Witnesses say Gaddafi's forces have launched at least 6 airstrikes in the area. There are reports that his forces are also using tanks and aircraft to attack the town of Zawiya. And in Bin Jawad, rebels are coming under heavy artillery fire. Britain and France are pushing ahead with plans for a UN-backed no-fly zone over Libya, but China says Libya's sovereignty must be respected, suggesting that it might veto any potential resolution. In Yemen, at least 3 inmates have been killed and dozens injured during clashes with police at a prison in the capital Sana'a. Around 2,000 prisoners have joined protests across the country, calling for the removal of President Ali Abdullah Saleh. The former Iranian president, Akbar Hashemi Rafsanjani, has lost his position as head of the powerful state clerical body which chooses Iran's supreme leader. Rafsanjani has been accused of being too close to the reformist opposition. He's been head of the 86-member Assembly of Experts since 2007. It's been a bitter day of protests in Cairo. Across the city, Coptic Christians have been demanding greater religious rights and an end to discrimination. The protest came a day after at least 2,000 angry Christians demanded that a torched church be rebuilt and for those found guilty to be brought to justice. A criminal court in Egypt has upheld a travel ban on the ousted President Hosni Mubarak. The decision prevents Mubarak and his family from leaving Egypt. Their financial assets and property in Egypt have also been frozen. Police in Pakistan have arrested a man over a bomb blast that's killed at least 25 people. Officials say he may also have been involved in a 2009 attack on a Sri Lankan cricket team. In Côte d'Ivoire, hundreds of people have been protesting against the killing of 7 women last week. The women were shot by soldiers whilst demonstrating against the incumbent president, Laurent Gbagbo. And in South Sudan, 51 soldiers have been killed in fighting between government troops and forces loyal to a rebel leader. South Sudan voted in January to secede from the north, but violence has flared in several locations in the south recently. Inside Story is coming up next here on AlJazeera. More news at the top of the hour. Thanks for watching.
As Colonel Gaddafi brandishes the amorphous al-Qaeda as the engine of the insurrection against his rule, the US administration expresses concern over what it claims is the group's strong presence in eastern Libya. Is al-Qaeda a factor in the Arab revolt of 2011, or is its spectre simply a tool used to forestall the march of history? Is al-Qaeda a player or a spectator? This is Inside Story. Hello and welcome to Inside Story. I'm Rida Fakhri. As the ripple effects of revolutionary change continue to be felt throughout much of the Arab world, al-Qaeda has been conspicuously silent. The group, which has for years now denounced autocratic Arab leaders as puppets of the West, appears to have watched from a distance as events continue to unfold from Tunisia